All right, all right, all right. It's so good to be here and see all these beautiful faces. I'm so excited. This is wonderful. And I am honored. You don't even know. I am honored to be the sister who gets to sit up here with all these amazing brothers. So we're going to talk about healing in the public eye. We have some amazing, I can't even believe it. Did I say amazing talent? And let me start with the man with the plan, the man of the hour, the man of today, Mr. Charlamagne, the guy. We bring out Char up here. You all know Charlamagne as co-host of The Breakfast Club, television personality, award-winning author. He got this bomb TV show, right? Hell of a week. Y'all got to go watch it. And so it's just such an honor to have Charlamagne here, obviously, the founder of the Mental Wealth Alliance. And I also want to shout out one of our founding members, Miss Debbie Brown, who's in the audience. Wave, Debbie. Absolutely. Next, we have somebody who just dropped some new music. I know everybody went and copped it already. Mr. G. Herbo, come on out,
G.
sir.
Herbo.
Yes, sir. You know our friend here is a rapper, a mental health advocate, and a community leader. It is an honor and a pleasure to have you here with us today. And then finally, one of my daughter and my spouse's favorites, one of mine too, and the favorite of everybody in here, R&B, Mr. Grammy Award-winning, multi-platinum songwriter, producer, actor, author, and R&B icon, Mr. Anthony Hamilton. So we are really here today to have a conversation about what it means to heal in the public eye, right? Because all of these gentlemen up here have been very open, right, about the importance of, as Charlamagne calls it, mental wealth. So I'm going to do my best to not talk a lot. Just pitch and let the brothers run. I'm going to do the handoff. So the first thing I want to ask, and anybody who wants to start, and I think it would be great if all three of you answered this question, and I'm going to pick on G. Herbo. I'm going to start with you. How have you seen the perception of mental illness and mental health change in the last 5, 6 years? What would you say?
Personally, I seen it change because people like myself who didn't really understand the importance of it or even what it was, to open up about it, you know, to be vulnerable and be honest, because at the end of the day, we all human. Nobody's perfect, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's always been like important over the past 2 or 3 years when I really started to like dive into the importance of like mental health and just everything that got to do with healing in the community as a black man, you know what I'm saying? Just a man in general, but a black man, because we endure so much. And you know, it's been normalized to just like take it. You know, that's me personally. Like that's my whole way of just dealing with things. Like, all right, it's cool. I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? And just take the punches and roll with it. But at the end of the day, you know, we gotta heal. We gotta be open about it. We have to speak about these things, and we have to help others. You know, because we, especially somebody like myself, having influence or big platform and stuff like that, you know, a lot of people think like I don't deal with problems, you know what I'm saying? I don't go through a lot of things personally, you know, and I feel like with, you know, me embracing my flaws, I'm able to help other people with that, you know what I'm saying? So I feel over the years it's been like, you know, helpful to others because we not afraid to speak on it.
Hey, man, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And like I said, I'm not going to speak a lot, but one thing I just want to pick on that you said, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Hamilton, is you mentioned like people in the public eye like you, all of you are big-time celebrities. People assume you don't have problems, right? And you said you embrace your flaws. And I just want to say, one of the things that's important to me is to always acknowledge, I feel like we don't really have flaws. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like what we are is we're sort of born perfect. And as we progress through life, we grow into a more perfect version of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So you are
I agree with
good. Yeah, so I just appreciate you being so open and honest. Mr. Hamilton, what would you say? What have you seen? Because you and I are close to the same generation. Yeah. What would you say about how you've seen things change over the last 5 to 7 years in the space of mental health?
I think the fact that we speak about it in the community, I think that's first off, that we are aware, people are aware that it exists, and that we have these problems and we have this illness, and to speak about it and bring it to the forefront as opposed to sweeping it under the rugs. Because You know, I come up from the family of, you sweep it under there, don't you say nothing. And don't you dare go down there and tell our business. But, you know, so the fact that we're speaking about it, I think it's the first part of healing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. And not only that part about don't you speak about it and tell nobody our business. Now, I'm going to say it. I hope I don't offend none of my white brothers and sisters. But you know what we say. Definitely don't tell them white folks none of our business. Right? So we would really try to keep it close to the vest. Because, you know, part of it is just we as black people and people of color, we already are so put upon in so many ways that you don't want anything else to take away or detract. Because sometimes we worry people are going to use that against us. Right? So I agree with everything that you said. Mr. Charlamagne, what would you say the last 5 to 7 years? In that time, you've had a book, right? You talked about your own experiences in a book. But what else would you say? You're out there in the forefront talking about it. What's that arc been like for you?
I think it's everything that, G. Herbo and Anthony Hamilton said. But also, I think COVID forced a lot of us to be still in 2020. I think a lot of us are always moving, and I think we don't realize that staying busy oftentimes is a trauma response. We always try to stay busy so we don't have to deal with whatever it is that we're going through. And I think COVID made all of us have to sit our asses down and, look in that mirror for the first time, and a lot of us didn't like what we saw. And, I think that there was a lot of people who were having these conversations, and during that period, man, so many folks were just reaching out. I know I was hitting your line all the time, especially with artists and, athletes just wanting to speak to somebody. So I think the fact that we all were forced to be still in 2020, I think that was one of the best things that actually come out of that whole experience was a lot of us had to deal with a lot of things that we were running from.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. COVID really made all of us have several seats, and really start to deal with our stuff. So I'm wondering for all of you all in your own spheres of influence, what would you say, how are you using your own platform, and how has the whole new conversation around mental illness and mental health impacted your work? How does this stuff show up in the work that you all do? Whoever would like to start.
Tell them the name of your new album, G. Herbo.
My new album is called Survivor's Remorse. It dropped yesterday on the 7th.
Go get it, go get it.
That title clearly means something.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And, to sum it up and to still answer your question, it's, is the fact of not being perfect, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not afraid to speak about what I'm feeling, and it's always it's impacting my work because I started doing music early on, I'm 27 years old. Actually, my birthday is today right now.
Happy born day.
Wait a minute, stop.
To you.
There you go, let's go. We're going to, on the count of 3, we're going to sing to this brother.
You're going to do the Stevie Wonder version, too. You got to do the Stevie Wonder version.
Yeah. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear.
And you're doing the white people version, Anthony Hamilton.
We really supposed to do it.
You're supposed to be doing the Stevie Wonder version.
Happy
It's
birthday.
all good. It's all good.
Yes.
But thank you to everybody. Thank y'all. But yeah, I started doing music when I was 16 years old, and I grew up in one of the toughest neighborhoods in Chicago, you know what I'm saying? And my music has always been a reflection of who I am as a person, you know what I'm saying? When I started doing music, I didn't really think that I would be here today. I didn't think that I would be this big celebrity, this big artist, and that's only because where I come from, we didn't really have aspirations or see anything further than our neighborhood and our block, So with that and with coming from that, I always just was trying to give a testament, my story and who I am, So my music, and as I've grown as a man, I've always grown as an artist, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I try to do. That's what I focus on. From the outside looking in, people think that we like to, me or artists in general or artists like myself, that we just focus on the art of it. But personally, it's so hard to navigate through life and to still keep on, growing as somebody of, high stature, to still be able to make money and take care of my family and still, overcome all the adversity that's been thrown, in front of me. And that's, and I think, and I like to say, I'm only here really because I'm able to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not about just me going to the studio every day and doing all of, you feel what I'm saying? Like this, I feel like this is the easy part. You know, the hard part is really behind the scenes, you know what I'm saying? And I always been honest with myself and honest with the people around me. And I feel like that's always reflecting my work, being honest and letting people see that I'm me. I'm just trying to be the best version of myself, you know what I'm saying? And you just got to accept that, you feel me?
Thank you so much
Can I
for
ask one
that. Yes,
question?
of course.
I just want to ask G Herbo about that feeling of survivor's remorse. What does that feel like?
Survivor's remorse, you know, and I did a 2-sided album because I'm just trying to tell a story of, you know, me being here today and everything that I do. Being on this stage right now is a moment of triumph for me on my birthday. You know, everything that I do, it's always been like, I don't like to live in a moment. You know I've survived so much. There's so many things that I've been able to overcome, you know, and having remorse is everything that I lost along the way, you know what I'm saying? Like, my best friends, you know, my little brother got killed, my grandmother, I could name so much, you know what I'm saying? And just understanding that I have to live with that trauma for the rest of my life, but that's what keep me going, you know what I'm saying? That's what motivate me. That's what make me be the best father that I could be, you know what I'm saying? Everything, and that's, you know, Survivor's Remorse is not just like a album for me, you know what I'm saying? It's me actually growing into the man that I am today, you feel what I'm saying? And I'm gonna keep having remorse, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep having Survivor's Remorse because it's so much that I have to overcome. You know, I still have goals for myself, and at the end of the day, it's like life ain't gonna really get no easier for me, and I just gotta deal with it, you feel me? So that's Survivor's Remorse for me.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So, Shar and Mr. Hamilton, what would y'all say? How would you say that your own work, this theme of mental health and mental illness, how does it show up in your work, and how does it influence your work?
I believe my music allows people to feel. It wakes up things that they've felt and dealt with, pain, joy, whatever it is. I think it wakes them up and forces you to deal with it. I think listening to people's testimonies, I get a lot of people to stop me and say, hey, this song changed my life, it did this. So I'm pretty much like a therapist a lot of times, because people come to me with everything that they've been through and how my music has changed. So pretty much I'm like medicine. Sometimes I have to listen to it myself because there are things I have to go through and things I have to overcome. And I think just giving people something to hear, something to play while they're going through whatever it is, kind of eases the pain a little bit.
Yes, and we wouldn't say kinda, it really does. You said kinda helps us. No, it helps us a lot.
I'm a mess now. I don't think that really eases no pain, but it's a good song.
Shar, what would you say?
I think for me early on, it was more so like a cry for help. Because, you know, I can't get on the radio every day or get on podcast every week and, you know, talk about everything else that's going on in the world and not talk about what's going on with me. So when I started talking about, you know, going to therapy every week, people were laughing at first. You know, it became a running joke, like, oh, yeah, you go to therapy every Friday at 3. But then it was like, oh, wait, no, he's really going, you know, to therapy. So for me, it wasn't even like something I was trying to do. I was just living my life. And it's like, if you're being an authentic version of yourself, whether you're an R&B singer, a rapper, or a radio personality, you have to talk about what's going on in your life in that moment. And what G Herbo said is very true about, you know, growing. Like, yo, every year you should be a new version of yourself. Every day you should be a new version of yourself. Like Muhammad Ali said, the man who thinks at 50 the way he thought at 20 has wasted 30 years of your life. So it's like every time, I'm not gonna say every day I get on the radio, but all the time it should be something new. You should be able to see the growth. You should be able to see the evolution. Every time G Herbo put out an album, you should be able to hear the growth. You should be able to hear the evolution. So for me, it's not even about, you know, this is some type of art I'm creating. This is just my life.
You look like you wanted to ask.
Yeah, I wanted to chime in on that because, like, when he was saying a cry for help and just the importance of therapy or talking to somebody, because, like, as a man, we go through so many emotions as a human being, but as a man, and I feel like one of those main emotions that we experience that we have to control is anger. You feel what I'm saying? As a man, we got to be able to control those emotions. And, you know, when we just going through like, all right, bet we got it, it's cool. All right, I'm thugging, I'm doing this. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be all right. I'm working. I got to get up. I got to take care of my kids, make sure my girl good, my mama good, everybody. And the people closest to us are the people who actually able to, well, for me, able to like see that anger or see those emotions. So we had to control those so we don't hurt the people closest to us. You know what I'm saying? So that's why therapy is important for me, for sure.
God, thank you for that. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna pick up on this theme of, you mentioned about being like all of you all are clearly black men. And I just, we have our brothers and sisters from Black Men Heal here. And I think about, I have a son, he's here somewhere, my son Miles, and I have a spouse, I have a dad who lives with me, I have a brother. There are all these black men in my life, and I know that as a woman, there are things that are part of the human experience, right, that we all have these emotions, but I think there's something unique about what it means to be a black man, how you're socialized to deal with, or not, emotions, and I just wonder if you all would share, since you brought it up, share a little bit about, I don't know, like, did you have people to give you guidance to help you get on the path?
Not the right guidance.
Yeah,
I think we spend so much time unlearning nowadays than anything, you know what I mean? Because I can say, I know I was taught wrong, because a lot of things that came from my father and my uncles was discipline, and it was this idea of what, manhood should be, and really it was not to deal with any type of emotions whatsoever. It's almost like they raised a generation of sociopaths. How you tell somebody not to feel? Yeah. How am I supposed to not feel? So what is this inside of me that you're telling me not to express? Yeah. So yeah, whatever perception of manhood that I was taught, I feel like I spent more of my adult life unlearning that than anything.
Okay, before y'all answer, can you talk a little bit about what does it mean to unlearn? What does that look like? Explain that to us, to unlearn those behaviors that you were taught.
Man, that's a great question. Yeah. It's a very confusing space, and I realized that like when I was 40, 41 years old, because you get to that point and you think you pretty much got it figured out, and then you sitting in therapy and you like, man, I don't know nothing. Like I'm confused. Right. I'm running on empty, and I honestly think that's a good space to be, because I think when you have that mindset of like you're always willing and open to learn new things, and you're able to challenge the things that you thought you knew, and also to say that that was just wrong, I don't even need that no more. That's why I always describe therapy as like having like a real junkie closet, and my wife knows how junky the closet is, right? And it's like you bring somebody in there to help you organize that closet, and you pack up all of the stuff you don't need anymore, and you get rid of that, and the things you say you want to keep, you hang up nice and neat, and now you got room to bring in new stuff. So that's what the unlearning process feels like to me.
Yes, I'd love that. Go ahead.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that, and what he was saying, like, even with him being, 40 years old, over 40, and like, it's no such thing as having life figured out. It's no such thing as knowing everything, you know what I'm saying? And we think that, and I thought that when I was 17, I thought I had it all figured out, you feel what I'm saying? So, and I feel like with the whole unlearning process of just not being able to like feel or like, you know what I'm saying, deal with, the things that you actually experience in the life, it breeds failure, you know what I'm saying? It breeds you not being able to, wanting to address things in your life, because we just got that, like, all right, that's cool, I don't even care, you know what I'm saying? You give up on things a lot that way because you're not able to feel, you're not able to deal with them, you're not able to address situations head on. Communication, like in your household, whether you're dealing with someone with your mom, your girl, your dad, your kids, whatever it is, like the smallest thing is just a conversation could really get you through a lot of stuff. And we avoid having conversations because we don't want to express ourselves, because we don't want to feel, you don't want to deal with things, you know what I'm saying? And we learn that at home. But when you really like grow and you become a real man, you feel what I'm saying? It's easy to be vulnerable. It's easy to address things, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to. I be feeling like I have to sometimes, but I don't in a lot of times because I'm still growing, I'm still learning, so I'm afraid to open up to some people because they use it as a weakness. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people look at it like a weakness. Oh yeah, he telling me what he going through, or you know what I'm saying? And they try to use it against you. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like that's cool. My mama always told me, like, if somebody tell you they crazy, believe them. You feel what I'm saying? Like. So it's like when people, you know what I'm saying, treat me a certain way, or, you know what I'm saying, or just the way people react to certain things, I feel like I don't judge them for it. I just take it for what it is, you know what I'm saying, and that's how I deal with things or deal with people.
I love it. Sir, what would you say about being a brother in this day and age, and like how brothers are, what's unique about their experiences, and how do you cope with these things, and how do you manage it?
Well, I'm a father of 6 brown boys.
Oh, all boys?
Yeah, 3 younger and 3 older. You know, I don't only cope with my own. I have to cope with things for them, and I have to develop, an influence for them, and I want to be something that they could see. Like you said, you want to show the growth. I want to show them that Dad started here. I started here, and I want them to see me get better. I want them to see me do the work. I want them to see how hard it is, to be a father, and how hard it is to go out here and work and make ends meet. And Dad gets tired sometimes. So showing that I'm, human, a lot of times allow them to see, like, okay, maybe there are some things I should be paying attention to. I want to show them that, it's not all about just going out being successful. It's not about just making money. It's not about just getting all these accolades, but it's about learning how to cope with life and learning how to place yourself in places where you can grow and being around people that will allow you to grow. And a lot of times we don't open up to people. Like he said, we don't want to change or unlearn things because we don't want to appear to be different. And I'm okay with being different. You could tell by this little raggedy beard, I don't really care. But you allow people to see that it's okay to change. It's okay to be your own individual self and do the work on you, because none of us in here have the same exact story, but we felt some of the same exact things. And being someone and a brother and someone who you can identify with, and as I'm growing and changing, I think it'll allow people to say, okay, if he could do it, I could do it. And, you show by example.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So I wonder, as we start to wind down, one question because the work that we do with the Acoma Project and with the Mental Wealth Alliance has to do with that next generation that's coming behind us, right?
Ooh.
Making sure that they have what they need, right? You said you got 6 boys. I'm tired just hearing that, right? So just like the idea.
I'm going to take a nap right after this.
So I think I want to leave a little bit of time for one last question, but before we get to that last question, can you all talk a little bit about how you use your platform, or what kinds of things you do with both the children in your own lives and the young people out there to help them understand the importance of, I'm going to be specific, Black mental health? What do y'all think?
For me, it's important to just give back to the youth in general, and with me being so young but feeling so old, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I feel like an old man, you know what I'm saying? But
Chicago brothers do age different. Okay?
Yeah. But I'm saying all that to say because, I was still a kid when I had to go through so much, when I had to have so much responsibility placed on me, and I had to, take on the role as a man. And so many of us do, as Black men, without having half the resources that I did. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I was blessed to really be able to have resources at 16 and have, people put in my life that, didn't come from my neighborhood, that taught me the importance of, building something for myself and for my kids early on, and just wanting to give back to the youth, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if a lot of y'all know, I started an initiative called Swerving Through Stress, you know what I'm saying? And it started where I just was like, trying to give an outlet to the kids, where I had a 24-hour hotline where, a therapist, suicide line, anything, you feel what I'm saying? And it started off, I was just giving that to 150 kids, and when I launched it, it was like 5,000 kids signed up, so I knew how important it was, you feel what I'm saying? And I come from...
yes, definitely.
Yeah. I come from youth centers and stuff like that, you feel what I'm saying, after school programs, and I grew up playing basketball and just anything to really keep us off the streets. And when that was taken from us at a young age, around our time, I was probably like 15 years old, that's when a lot of my friends started to die, and we didn't really have much to do but stand outside on the corner, you feel me? So a few years ago, I partnered, you know, with JB. You know, a lot of people know JB, Guion, Mickey Halstead. You know, we bought a school that got shut down in Chicago. You know, we're going to turn it into a multimedia facility, a multi-million-dollar multimedia facility, you know what I'm saying, to give back and just give trades to the kids, whatever. And I feel like I'm using my platform because if you mess with me, you know what I'm saying, if you in the NBA or you do engineering or videography or whatever, arts, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want y'all to be able to come back and show these kids how to find a trade, you know, show them something that's tangible. That's why it's important for me to always go back to Chicago and just let people see me, you feel what I'm saying? Because I come from that. I was once you know what I'm saying? I am a product of my environment, but I made it and I survived, and that's only because I used the tools that, you know what I'm saying, God gave me and that the people instilled in me early on, and I just did whatever was necessary for me to make it, you know what I'm saying? And these kids, they need their innocence, they need their youth. You know, we're supposed to be charismatic, we're supposed to smile, laugh, and just try to do anything to just be a better version of ourselves than we was yesterday, you know, and that's gonna breed success in the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? And that's what's gonna make us, you know, unify as a people. You know, we got to start with the youth, because when you don't know what these people going through when they going to school, you don't know what's going on in their household, you don't know what they experienced the day before in their neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? So you got to relieve them of that and allow them to be the best version of themselves, and it start with the youth. So that's what's important to me, you know what I'm saying?
Amen. Yes. So we only have a couple minutes. Let me do this. If either one of you gentlemen wants to answer that question too about the youth, please do. And then I want all three of you to be thinking about what gives you hope. So if you want to follow on with that child question and how do we help our young people, and then we're going to go right into each one of you. I want you to tell this audience what gives you hope in the space of mental health and black mental health specifically. Go ahead, sir.
I think exposing kids to different things, open them up, you know, and they'll start expressing themselves. I think you get to know a lot of times we force kids to be quiet, sit here, don't say nothing, don't experience nothing. You can't go there, you can't do that. When you expose a kid to something new, something different, they'll open up and let you know who they are. And at that moment, you get a chance to really see what work needs to be done, and you can address it then. But a lot of times we shut our kids down or shut them up, and we never get a chance to see who they are and what they're dealing with. I think depression and mental health and mental illness starts very young.
Oh, yeah.
And so if we allow them to be who they are and express themselves, I think we have a chance to really help them early on, as opposed to shutting them down. So I expose my kids. I expose other people's kids. You can come and see what I do at work. You can come see what I do in the studio. And that way, you know, open their mind up and create dialogue between you and that child, so you can get to know who they are and what their needs are.
Thank you. Go ahead.
That's right. No, they're both right. You know, I think this is we're the first generation that has the luxury of healing. And I think that, you know, we're all healing out loud. And I think events like this, you know, albums like Herbo, like we're normalizing things in our culture that need to be normalized. I always say if we can normalize all the BS that we normalize, how come we can't normalize this? And we normalize we normalize it just by doing what we're doing, you know, right now. So, you know, I always say, just don't be afraid to heal out loud. Don't be afraid to tell your story, because you are influencing the next generation, whether you realize it or not.
I love it. And that gives me hope. So in this last minute and a half, 2 minutes that we have, each of you tell me, and then I'm going to start with you, G. Herbo, what gives you hope about black mental health in general, and about your own mental health? What's giving you hope right now?
What give me hope is my kids. I ain't gonna lie, my most like inspiration and motivation that I get to just keep going is my kids, you know what I'm saying? And that's because I deal with so much, you know what I'm saying? I don't have the luxury of really like just shutting down, you feel what I'm saying? I can't be angry or upset for a whole day. I can't miss interviews or video shoots. Like, I can never have a whole day of just whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I think just me being with my kids is like the purest form of like just love and peace. Like when I don't have to think about nothing else, you feel what I'm saying? Like when I'm stressing, I could be going through anything. When I just hang out with my kids, I literally like feel nothing but, you know, just them.
Thank you. Mr. Hamilton?
What gives me hope? Wow, that I made it. I made it from nothing. Yeah, I made it. You know, I'm still here, I'm healthy, I'm alive. And I'm still growing, and I'm still achieving things and growing in certain ways. And I've seen other people come behind me to do the same thing, passing the baton on, and someone who comes up behind you and make you proud. And when you see that your work is inspiring other people, you can't do anything else but feel hope.
I love that. Okay, Mr. Charlamagne, you got the last word, sir. What's giving you hope right now?
Don't put that kind of pressure on me. I don't want the last word. But no, what gives me hope is this room. You know, what gives me hope is these panels that we're doing, because this is the Mental Wealth Expo, and it's advertised as a day of mental health education and healing. And, you know, all of these people showed up because they're clearly looking for that healing. You know what I mean? They're clearly looking to get started on their mental health journey. And to me, that's all the hope I need, just looking around this room and having conversations with people in here and listening to everybody on these panels talk about what they're going through. I know that the next generation is going to be influenced greatly by these things that we're doing. So this is what gives me hope.
Thank you so much, sir. So ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Hamilton, G. Herbo, Charlamagne the God. Thank you.